Finance is a critical part for your plan for growth. With your personal resources, there is the farthest you can go. You may be satisfied with that, which is okay. If you want to go further, you may need to think about capital from other sources. One is borrowed capital. You can take a loan of whatever kind of borrowing. The other one is to think about shares, or better still, other shareholders to join you. Now, there are many ways that can happen, and that's the purpose of our discussion today. But I want us to be on the same page, that we have the intent to grow. My good friends, research has shown that a good number of businesses fail to grow because there was no intention to grow. Think about that. Many businesses fail to grow because there was no intention to grow. If you don't intend to grow, trust me, no amount of capital will make you grow. No amount of employees will make you grow. So we must begin with that intent to grow. As we look at this webinar today, let's begin with a review of our intention to grow. Now, so financial planning for your business becomes a number one consideration for your growth, involving finding the right kind of financial resources. There are different kinds of money, as I've said. There is your own savings. There is your family money, perhaps as we've been seeing as well. There is borrowed money. But there is also share capital. This requires you to identify the stage you are in. If you just started business during this COVID, you'll be lucky to get anybody joining you as a shareholder. Your business is still too young. People need to see shareholders. If they are to join you, they need to be convinced. To convince them, it means you must have run the business for a while. You need to identify milestones that require resources. So if you were to get that capital today, 10 million, 50 million, so what would you do with it? Milestones. It might be good to have business advisors. The game of having other people join you is a little different from the game of getting a customer. There are so many things you need to consider. Valuation of your business, structure of your business. Some of them I'm going to consider them and I'm going to share with you today. All those are important. Identifying and hiring good management team. The point is, when you are inviting other people to become shareholder, you must remember yourself now as a different person. You are a shareholder too, and you need a management team. You cannot get people joining as fellow shareholders when you're running your business like your personal, kiosk or something like that. I know there are many challenges we face entrepreneurs. You are looking at your whole history of running business and you see what has changed. You start the business as the owner, investor. All of a sudden you realize you need to be the director, marketing manager, because sales needs to be done, financial manager, because finance needs to be managed, okay, operations manager, human resource manager, security manager, okay, and even perhaps messenger for the same business. When you have that kind of structure, your business would struggle to grow because you do not do what is the most important thing for you to do in the business, and that is to think strategically. Now, when I want to join you as a shareholder, I would like to see that there is somebody who thinks strategically for the business, right? Not a person who is running over and over again from one sport to another. Looking at the growth of your business, my good friends, People tell you there are very many things you consider. Okay? At the very early stage, you are designing so on. When you think about the capital here, you need friends, you need family, you need grants, those kind of things if they are available. When you are in the next level, okay, now you are actualizing. You need to have short-term loans. Perhaps people like incubators and financiers of that level will be good. Okay? As you grow, you'll notice different kind of capital will be required. When you're growing at the third stage and profits have started to show up where we are now, you're thinking about more market outlets. You want now to conquer Uganda because you've done Kenya, or you want to conquer Eldoret because you have managed Kisumu. Okay? You probably now need a structured finance, which comes with not just the money, but expertise of management. That's where venture capital comes in, or long-term loans comes in. And you can see on and on. And if you grow, and I pray for you that you grow because you have the potential to grow, my good friends, eventually have this dream. How about you join the stock exchange with an IPO? That is initial public offer. Then you can now get listed. Yeah, just like Kenya Commercial Bank, right? How I pray for you when we get here. But today, my good friends, we are talking about equity capital. Okay, you notice it is like from the third stage, right? You see, owners put money so that you finance your operation. They expect dividends. They expect capital gains. You must remember that. What is their intention? They are not just happy that they have shares in a company, something sentimental. No, they have specific expectation. You need to make profits. Therefore, the goals we talked about earlier on must be clearly well set. The operation so efficient, structured so well put, that at the end of the day, after paying expenses, profit remain enough to pay dividends. And not just that, when you make profits of 100 million, 10 million, 1 million, whatever it is, they don't expect you to pay the whole amount as dividends. They want money to be retained so the business can grow. And when the business grows, later on they can sell their shares and they get capital gains. So remember to those two things. Dividends is a faster structure, but it's not the only structure. Capital gains when they sell shares. So when they come in, remember, the intention is not to be shareholders forever. They can, don't worry. But the intention is to gain in dividends and gain by selling shares at a price higher than what they bought. And the surest way is if you have accumulated retained profit over time. Let's see what benefits there are in equity capital. Number one is there is no pressure of repayment. When I join you as a shareholder, I will not come at the end of the year and tell you, give me back my money. Share capital is permanent capital. Okay? So there's no obligation to pay interest. Even the dividend distribution is not a legal obligation. Of course, I don't want you to go that route of telling people I don't have. No. I want you to make money so that you can pay them dividends and attract more capital. But the point is, legally, there is no pressure. Okay? It gives you an opportunity to allow money remain in the business so that way you can grow further using capital contributed and also using retained profit. Because as owners, you can decide, and you have seen this if you have owned shares of companies. Some years they say, okay, this is the year of COVID, we haven't made much profits, let's not share the interest. Let's keep the money we have earned so that we can make more next year. Now, of course, there is no risk of bankruptcy. Because there is no repayment of principal like a loan or payment of interest, there is lower risk of bankruptcy. In fact, almost zero risk of bankruptcy. No one can force you into bankruptcy. If you are failed to pay dividends, the shareholders cannot force you into bankruptcy. The only thing they can do is, if they have the voting power, is to vote out you and your directors or vote out the decision. That's why you have to be careful. How many shares can you give out? And if you ask yourself that question, I'll tell you, I'll advise that you do not give more than 50%. In our system, you control a company when you have more than 50% of the share. If you're choosing a person to be a shareholder, don't just look at he has money. Money is good, but you need more than money. Can he bring you new ideas that can revamp the business? Can he bring connection so that using his or her name, you can get doors opened and you can get people to listen to you. You can get capital or you can get to sell. Equity is a buffer for getting more loans. So if you had only 100,000 shillings as your capital, it's unlikely a bank can lend you more than 100,000. So if I give you another 100,000 as shares, now you can increase the amount of capital or loan that you can take. You have the ability to loan. By the way, let's also remember that some of the people you may invite to join you will be family members. I have trained a lot on family business management, and I will invite the next time we have family business management, please make sure you do not miss, because these topics are very much important. And one of the things you see important in securing succession of a family business is the structure of ownership that you create, right? First, the structure, the legal structure of the company, of the business. That's why I say a limited company is very important. And then the structure of ownership, who has how many shares? Is there a controlling shareholder? Is there, what shares are given to nuclear family? What shares can be given to extended family? The point is, dilution will come, but then there is a way of protecting. You must remember that capital, equity capital, is not as cheap as people think. Actually, it's very expensive, in the sense that although you are not going to pay me interest as your new shareholder, I have high expectation in terms of dividend you're going to give me. High expectation, okay? Because I assume the highest risk. If anything goes wrong, I lose everything. So I expect a higher return. And it is because of that that I may disrupt you in the way you make decisions. Because if I doubt the decision you're making are going to give me less return than otherwise, I am going to use my voting power. And that's why, again, you have, when you're inviting people from outside, you have to look at retaining the authority of making decisions. Of course, there's time. The process to secure equity funding is long. It's time consuming. We have to value your company. We may have to restructure the administration and ownership. We have to come up with tools of governance. And it takes time to convince anyone, right? I know there is this argument of the elevator pitch that you can pitch in 30 seconds by the time the elevator gets to the highest floor and you've got somebody interested in your business. Okay, some marketing are good, but trust me, it's not easy. I may have, you have whet my appetite, but it will take time to make the decision to join. Those challenges sometimes make it difficult for us to make the decisions that we want other people to join. It is a business relatively risky in terms of loan or ordinary borrowing, but it gets a hybrid capital from a businessman called venture capitalist. Okay? There are many ways people try to define this, and I don't want to go to the details of that. But the simple thing is that this is an investor willing to risk at early stages of your company, take ownership of a certain fraction of your company, which they would dispose of to you after an agreed period of time, or they can sell it out to somebody else if you are not able to buy them out at agreed terms. That's what it means.